my journey through the system, I've realised there's a couple of components that are plaguing most men in jails. Identity, drugs and alcohol, mental health and relationships. So my name's Chris Mason, proud Nempar man from Brewarrina.
Glenn Lydiard, proud Indigenous man from the Biripi Gurrabal Nations. Known Chris Mason since we were young men or young boys from probably the age of 11 to 12. Being one of the younger ones in the family, seeing all my family go to jail was always very upsetting for me, and we used to always go and visit them, and I loved them, and when they got out I'd go and spend time with them and everything, and I always just thought to myself as I got older, why was the reason these blokes kept going back to jail?
The drugs and alcohol took on a major component of my life. Addiction progressed and found myself sitting in jail with my head spinning, thinking, how did it get to this? But I didn't know who I was or where I was from. I was part of the stolen generation, and I was culturally disconnected.
My job day, like 7 days a week, is Indigenous wellbeing at the Panthers. I look after all our Aboriginal players, boys and girls, from the ages of under 15s right through to the NRL players. And even though I grew up knowing I was Aboriginal, I never grew up with culture. I used to use Chris a lot to come down and teach the culture, and it just showed me how far he'd come in culture from someone who didn't know growing up to actually teaching me and me learning from him.
I've worked in the homeless sector, I've worked in the mental health sector, I've worked in the employment sector, I've worked in the training sector, I've worked in the judicial system. Using both our life experiences, we've got a lot to offer in that space.
And that one trip into Long Bay Jail where the Governor, Adam Schreiber, got us in there, and we had a look around, and Chris got to see some of the places that he'd spent time in there and that, and meeting some of the other inmates who were there, and we just realised that there is a need for this program in the jails.
And so going into the jails, helping those that are lost find their way, that's exactly what we're about. So this is where Survival2Revival is unique. So that behaviour that just keeps them going, the criminal behaviour that keeps the drugs and alcohol rolling, and they're on that treadmill, they're surviving. All I want to do is revitalise them and bring them back to life. And so employment's a big one, but how do we go changing from surviving to reviving? We've got to give them meaning and purpose, something that's going to make them want to change. And so with traditional Aboriginal culture, it was about responsibilities and obligations, and about meeting them responsibilities and obligations and be proud of that. And so when someone starts meeting their responsibilities and obligations and are getting praised for it and can see that it can lead to somewhere, well then that's when the groundbreaking transformation happens.
I can guarantee everybody who's sitting in jail, that's the dream that they've got, is to hopefully one day to be able to provide for their family and go and watch their kids play sport or coach the team, or, you know what I mean? Like, this is just the start of seeing young kids seeing mum and dad, or dad getting up and going to work, just be the good father or mother that they dream of while they're in jail. And this stuff here can change generations.
Seeing firsthand people turn their lives around and change, I've been at this for about 25 years. I've seen many transformations over the years, working in the homeless sector, becoming employable, getting their own place. Working in the drug and alcohol sector, I've seen blokes get off drugs and alcohol, get their family back.
And even what they're getting back into the field of where they come from, the drug and alcohol, they make the best counsellors and the best drug and rehab people because they've actually been there, done it. And there's a lot of work in the communities for these people to find jobs and feel like they're giving back, and sometimes that's all you want to do. You just want to feel like you're helping somebody else.
Survival2Revival, our mission is to use the SUB framework instead of a risk-adverse framework, where we can turn around and use all the positive things that people are doing in their life rather than looking at the negative social aspects. But if we can build on people's strengths, I think that's going to go a long way in helping them to stop reoffending, turning their lives around and be there for their families, their communities and loved ones.
this program could go all over Australia. The funding could be actually to train these blokes up, and the boys in jail, we'll be putting a lot of money back into training them up to where one day they're running these programs.
It's a worthwhile course. We've done it, we've got the data. Money it's going to cost to run this program versus the money it costs for people reoffending is huge.
Part of this program would be me bringing in different people as well to talk to these blokes, whether it's rugby league players or other Indigenous people who have sort of done well in life, and hearing their stories as well. So being able to touch on some of the contacts and the people that I know, which I've met over the years and done different things for, is something I think will help immensely as well.
The opposite to addiction is connection. And so I think that if we can help people connect to the universe and the world around us and everything in it, lower the recidivism and the domestic violence and the drug and alcohol, how that impacts on the community, it's huge. 1, 2, 3, S2R.